Do you get a little claustrophobic when you enter an elevator? And then perhaps you always have this fear that the elevator might stop and cause you to be stuck in that tiny, confined space. You're probably not alone in relating to that. Claustrophobia seems to be common to many people, so let's find out, why are we scared of confined spaces? Hi, welcome to our channel. This is Eventful Insights, and today we have another interesting topic prepared for you. In this video, we'll be talking about claustrophobia, the irrational fear of confined spaces. We'll discover the origin of claustrophobia, its triggers, and some tips on how to stay calm in confined spaces. Before we begin, we want to survey those of you watching. Do you easily get scared of confined spaces? Tell us in the comments below. Now let's begin by defining claustrophobia first. Claustrophobia, one of the most common phobias, is characterized by an irrational and intense fear of confined or crowded spaces. It may be provoked by situations such as being confined in a room without windows, experiencing a crowded elevator, or driving on a congested highway. People with claustrophobia often go out of their way to avoid small, enclosed spaces like elevators, tunnels, subway trains, and public toilets. However, avoiding these places can make the fear even stronger. Claustrophobia affects people differently. Some may feel a bit uneasy in tight spaces, while others can experience intense anxiety or even have a panic attack. Claustrophobia is a somewhat mysterious condition. It was first noted in the 1870s by a French doctor in Paris. He described two people who felt anxious when inside their closed apartments. The term claustrophobia was then introduced by Benjamin Ball in 1879 to describe this fear of enclosed spaces. The exact causes of claustrophobia remain unclear, but environmental factors may play a significant role. Typically, people develop claustrophobia during childhood or adolescence. The condition might be linked to amygdala dysfunction, the part of the brain responsible for fear processing. Traumatic events, such as being trapped in a confined space, experiencing turbulence while flying, or being punished by confinement, can also trigger claustrophobia. Additionally, growing up with a claustrophobic parent or family member increases the likelihood of developing the phobia, as children may associate fear and anxiety with enclosed spaces after observing their loved ones' reactions. But other factors for claustrophobia also include the fear of what might happen in the confined space. According to a study, people with claustrophobia aren't necessarily scared of closed spaces themselves, but are afraid of what might happen in those spaces. Similar to how agoraphobia is recognized as the fear of potential issues in public places, like having a panic attack, claustrophobia can be seen in a similar light. Many claustrophobic individuals describe a subjective feeling of being trapped, and most enclosed spaces involve some degree of confinement and limited movement. Both animals and people may feel vulnerable in confined spaces, and experimental neuroses can be easily induced in animals placed in such environments. Additionally, claustrophobic individuals are deeply troubled by the fear of suffocation. This exceptionally strong and anticipated aspect of claustrophobia is seen as a serious threat by those affected. When in confined spaces, many people with claustrophobia also grapple with a fear of suffocation, closely linked to the sensation of struggling to breathe. Another contributing factor to claustrophobia is related to the preparedness theory of phobia. The human brain is naturally geared to fear certain triggers that might pose a threat. Evolution has equipped the brain to swiftly identify dangers in the environment. This concept of preparedness could have been advantageous during evolution, enabling humans to promptly recognize and escape from perilous situations. Due to its common occurrence and the potential dangers associated with confined spaces, preparedness theory of phobia may play a role in the development of claustrophobia. Which factors for claustrophobia can you relate to the most so far? Share it in the comments below. Do you like watching videos about crime mysteries, key figures in our history, and intriguing world discoveries? Then go ahead and check out our other videos. Let's continue. Another interesting trigger for claustrophobia is a person's perception of space. A recent investigation into how individuals with claustrophobia perceive their surroundings indicates that both near and far spaces play a crucial role in the development of the disorder. The definition of a small or confined space can vary among individuals, influenced by their unique sense of personal or near space. In a 2011 study, it was discovered that individuals with larger near spaces around their body are more prone to experiencing claustrophobia when this personal zone is encroached upon. For instance, if someone's personal space extends to 6 feet, standing just 4 feet away from them might trigger feelings of panic. Moreover, our brains interpret near and far spaces differently. Certain neurons react to objects close or approaching the body. When it comes to perceiving objects nearby, most people have a slight bias towards the left, while this bias shifts towards the right for objects in the distance. The speed of this shift from left to right can indicate how large someone perceives their nearby space. Interestingly, the study found that individuals with shorter arms tend to have smaller near spaces, and those with longer arms have larger near spaces. However, regardless of arm length and other factors, people with high levels of claustrophobia were found to have larger near spaces than those with lower levels of claustrophobia. This suggests that claustrophobia might, in part, arise from distortions in how individuals perceive their nearby space. To further understand this near space and how it relates to claustrophobia, a group of psychologists conducted a study to further prove the connection between the two. A study in cognition found that the more space someone considers as near, the higher the likelihood they'll experience claustrophobia. The root of this lies in a phenomenon where phobias can either make people see the world differently or abnormal perceptions themselves can lead to phobias. Stella F. Lorenzo, Ph.D., a cognitive psychologist at Emory University, led the study and explained that fear and anxiety have long been known to disrupt cognitive processes. The researchers conducted an experiment with 35 participants, where each person stood close to a horizontal line on a wall. Using a laser pointer, they indicated the midpoint and repeated this process at various distances from the line. As expected from prior research, participants' midpoint estimates shifted from left to right as they moved away from the line. By analyzing how quickly these estimates changed, the researchers determined the size of each participant's near space, the range where their laser pointer stayed left of center. Following this, Lorenzo inquired about the likelihood of experiencing claustrophobic symptoms in different situations, like being stuck on a train or in a dark closet. The findings revealed that participants with the largest near spaces were also the most likely to report claustrophobic symptoms. This connection might be due to the fact that encroaching on an individual's personal space triggers feelings of fear and anxiety, possibly as a defensive mechanism to protect the body from harm, as suggested by Lorenzo. Now, how does claustrophobia get treated? To start the treatment process, it's important to reach out to a psychologist or another mental health specialist. There are various therapeutic approaches that can be beneficial. Exposure therapy is one method that gradually exposes individuals to situations triggering their fear, aiding in overcoming it. This may start with looking at a photo of a confined space and progress, with the therapist's guidance to actually being inside such a space. Meanwhile, cognitive behavioral therapy involves one-on-one sessions where you discuss negative thoughts contributing to the fear and learn techniques to overcome them. It can be used alone or combined with exposure therapy. Another treatment uses virtual reality, which utilizes computer simulations of confined spaces, providing a virtual experience to help conquer fears in a safe setting. Also, relaxation and visualization techniques can be learned to calm fear in anxiety-inducing situations. If therapy alone is insufficient, medical treatment may include prescription of anxiety medications or antidepressants to assist in managing fear-triggering situations. But there are also other tips for staying calm in a confined space, one of which includes practicing breathing exercises. By focusing on deep breaths, you can reduce your stress response, leading to a decrease in heart rate and stabilization of blood pressure. This simple technique proves beneficial in managing anxiety and maintaining a sense of composure in confined spaces. Guided fantasy is also another tip in overcoming fear in confined spaces. If an individual positions themselves in a confined space, such as their bedroom, they can systematically confront the fears and emotions linked to being in tight quarters from an objective perspective. By doing so, they can proactively work towards overcoming their phobia in a secure environment, simulating various scenarios as necessary. What have been your thoughts so far? Have you ever personally been extremely afraid or panicked in a small area? What did you do to ease your panic? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching this video, support us by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and ringing the notification bell. Thanks for watching.